Yo, SKN in a serious dilemma. Rather the country been run by labor. This pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixery. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's loud. SKN in a serious dilemma. Rather the country been run by labor. This pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixery. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. Is the people who left to suffer. No pub, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, dedicate lawyer. He really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. BAT join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is more. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society. Government buildings, well them do. Loud. SKN in a serious dilemma. Rather the country been run by labor. This pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixery. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. Is the people who left to suffer. No pub, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, dedicate lawyer. He really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. BAT join the cult of the greedy. We just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is more. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society. Government Loud. US can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and my mixari. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. Is the people who
Good evening to everyone. Good evening to everyone. Welcome to another broadcast, another live show of Unfiltered. Good evening. Yes, welcome to another live broadcast of Unfiltered. I am your host, AZARD GUMBS, the Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement. And with me in studio this evening, and I want to wish persons a Happy New Year. It's the first time that we are here on air since the start of the new year 2025. And of course, Unfiltered comes to you. It's a production, is a paid production. It's a paid show where we talk about the conversations, political conversations, unfiltered, because we realize in St. Kitts and Nevis we need that avenue whereby we could have political debate, political discussion without fear of victimization or the like. And so in studio I have with me, I have Mr. Kyle Flanders. Mr. Kyle Flanders, would you like to introduce yourself to let persons know who you are?
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year, as I had said. I hope everybody have a prosperous 2025. My name is Kyle Flanders, and I basically consider myself an agriculturist. That is my background, that is my passion, and so that's what I'm known for.
And we have also in studio, we have Mr. Troy Flanders. Troy, would you like to give the persons listening a little introduction? I'm sure they know you already. You've been on Unfiltered and you've been on the political platform before, but you could always add and let persons know who you are, those persons who are listening at this point in time.
So kind of Azad.
Yes.
Good night to all. I'm Troy Flanders. Just want to wish everyone out there a peaceful, progressive 2025. And I'm also a farmer, so those of you who know me from being a farmer, simple farmer, that's all I am right now, nothing else.
Fine, so without further ado, we're getting into the topic because we want to talk about the administration. We have administration here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Labour administration. It is by far the poorest performing administration of all times here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a lot of persons. We just had the Calypso. We just had the Carnival season. And all through the Calypso, the theme was things are not going well. Things are not going well in St. Kitts and Nevis. Things are not going well within the government. Things are not going well here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, we could also look at the ministers who have various portfolios. And the theme this evening is the superficial minister. And when that theme was being circulated, a lot of persons asked me, messaged me and said, but which one of them you're talking about? Because all of them superficial. All of them do not know what they are doing. All of them is all about this hype and not the substance. I had to tell them, it's very true. They are all superficial. And so when we really look at these ministers, these persons who have been elected by the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, who they now do not want to have them represent them because they are only representing themselves. When we look at the long list, I said to myself, there are about two who could perhaps top the list. There is the Honorable Prime Minister, and there is also Samuel Doggins. And I want to differentiate. I said the Prime Minister because You know, when you look at the term superficial, it means that more like about the hype and not about the substance. And so there's no depth. When you look at how the Prime Minister has been governing this country, St. Kitts and Nevis, you have to ask the question, does he understand how to govern a country? Because clearly when his own advisor can say to him that things are not going well, it means that things are definitely not going well. And so when we look at agriculture and the Minister of Agriculture, and of course, the representative of number 4, sadly, unfortunately, one who I like to say, he's either on the top of the list or the bottom of the list. The top of the list when you're looking about hype. And when you look at substance, the bottom of the list. And so we have a situation whereby we have a Minister of Agriculture, and he is talking about agriculture. In his presentation, he spoke about, during the debates, he spoke about agriculture being a hot topic. He spoke about it with such fanfare. He talked about videos that he wants to show in his presentation. And while I sat and while I listened to his presentation, I had to ask myself whether or not the minister, in fact, read that presentation before he delivered it, or whether or not he was familiar with the presentation. It was a lot of smiles and a lot of giggles, a lot of hype and no substance. And so, both of you, being persons in the agriculture field, would be better able to speak about the debate, the budget, his performance in terms of him as a minister, and what he has presented to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis for 2025. Because when I looked at his presentation, when I examined his presentation, there was little substance. He laughed, he talked about who in farming, that farming pretty now, alluding to someone who perhaps was in the gallery or perhaps were part of the debate. And so you wonder whether or not he's serious, because it was more smiles and giggles than anything else.
I don't think he's serious at all. I really don't think he's serious. I watched the presentation and persons out there, them youngsters know the word cringe. And that's all I felt, cringe. You're pausing for applause. You want to laugh. You reiterate because I guess it didn't land good the first time, so you want the crowd to say something. So the presentation left me disheartened to say, that's the leader of our agriculture sector. Well, are we dead? Are we gone? If that's the best, if that's the top, man, we ain't got no future. And so, like you said, no substance, just superficial, just shallow. And so we are going to try to break down his presentation and point out, and I got a lot of notes scanned done here, boy, about 4, 5, 6 page of notes with just all of the what was lacking in the presentation. So I'm just here to give that perspective and try to give the underground working man farmer perspective, because all the talk Samuel did, the farmers can tell you nothing to about.
But before we go into, let the persons here, let the audience hear the Honorable Samuel Doggins, and when he talk about agriculture being a hot topic and the way in which he brought himself to the people. In fact, he made it seem like agriculture was not important before, and it only became important when he became minister.
2024. Brief. That's what I wanted to say. Madam Deputy Speaker, I also wish to lend my support to the move of this bill, our esteemed Prime Minister and member for number 8. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, before I begin my presentation, I seek leave to have video presentations played in intervals throughout my presentation in this honorable house. Thank you. Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to start my presentation today on what seems to be the new hot topic, agriculture. Madam Deputy Speaker, I don't know if it is as pleasing to you as it is to me to see the way over the last couple of years agriculture has taken the center stage, so to speak, in terms of economic conversations. I think that is pleasing and should be pleasing to all of us, Madam Deputy, because, as I always say, we can live without many things. 5 Bill 2024.
So that is the Honorable Samuel Doggins, and he's saying that agriculture all of a sudden became a hot topic. And I believe he's saying that because he's now the Minister of Agriculture. Because before, it might not have been a hot topic for him.
Apparently.
We know that he's a farmer, but maybe it wasn't a hot topic for him because we know the importance of agriculture. And if Mr. Doggins understood that he's the Minister of Agriculture and the importance of agriculture to St. Kitts and Nevis, you know that agriculture is not just a hot topic now, when you have to feed the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
And that fundamentally speaks to the problem that we have when persons like those are the ones in charge. I mean, St. Kitts was, the short would tell you founded in 1634, 1624, whenever you want to put it. But we are an agrarian economy. We were founded as an agrarian economy. So agriculture has always been the pinnacle of our society until the Labour government killed it. When Dougie killed agriculture, then tourism became the star. But before that, agriculture was, that there's no coincidence that the parish of St. John's and St. Paul's and those places are called the sugar belt. That's the sugar belt in our country. And Mansion is the breadbasket of our economy, of our country, in terms of production. So yeah, he knew to this thing. That's what you could telling you. He rookie to this whole thing because I feel as though it's a new hot topic. So again, just words and try to be, again, superficial, just shallow stuff. Because if he didn't read in, if he read a history book, saying it's right there, there's a reason why England never wanted to let us go, because we're one of the biggest, best producers in the Eastern Caribbean. So welcome to agriculture, Mr. Minister. I'm glad that you're here.
Glad he finally understands that agriculture is a hot topic, but it's only a hot topic now because he himself is the Minister of Agriculture. So he's seen himself as the hot topic.
He's the star now. He's the star now.
The star.
Yeah.
As I said before, when you look at Mr. Doggins, it's all about bragging rights. It's all about saying that he could be better than this, better than that. Not about the substance, not about delivering to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, but ensuring that he is the star of any room that he enters.
You know, the scary thing about it is that when he talking about hot topic, maybe he feel like he doing so well with agriculture that it become a hot topic. And that's the scary thing, you know, because maybe he believe that he is doing so well. Right?
In fact, I want to believe that had it not been for shows like Farm Report, had it not been for the consortium, then agriculture would not have been the hot topic that he calls it now. Yeah. And it's not for the minister. It's for the persons who are keeping the minister's feet to the fire.
Okay.
Controversy sells there, so I don't know if he think it's hot for him because it's a good thing, but I'm pretty sure because of the bad reports that have been coming out of the ministry, the department, and the pain that the farmers are feeling, of course, it's going to be a hot topic for everybody. But let's say any publicity I mean...
But as you say, superstitious,
Superficial.
For
those persons, all hype, no substance.
So he believe that he a top. He
appears as if he knows a lot.
Yeah.
When in fact, when you examine what he knows, it's very little.
And we'll see that at the end of tonight.
And we'll see that in his presentation, he gave very little. In fact, he has redefined, in my mind, what agriculture is. Because when we go through the show, we'll see that throughout his presentation, he makes mention to someone during a press conference who asks him the question, how are you going to succeed in agriculture where others have failed? If you listen to the response of the minister, it's as if he himself do not know what agriculture is. Again, he's the carnival minister. There's carnival shows. Sometimes you ask people a question at the carnival shows, the contestants.
The interview.
And sometimes you wonder if they're answering the same question that has been asked.
Yeah,
and so when the minister was asked that question and the answer that he gave in Parliament, I had to ask myself, did he understand the question that was given to him? Yeah, did he prepare that answer?
I was baffled. Trust me, I was baffled.
I am going to allow persons to hear what the minister had to say when that question was asked.
What's the next thing? Madam Deputy Speaker. We had to now look at the agriculture value from start to finish. You know, and I was at a press conference and I was asked a question by a reporter. And he asked, with everybody that has tried to evolve agriculture, why do you think that you would be the one to do it when everybody has tried and failed? And Madam Speaker, that question to me highlighted the misunderstanding that we have about the agriculture sector. Because in its truest essence, it is a natural phenomenon to drop a seed to the ground, watch it grow, and see that evolve into a plant and be a fruit. That's the act of God. However, what we've been able to do is to ensure that once provided the right conditions, that we could see that tree blossom to its fullest potential. And if we are able to ensure that we could calculate what that potential is. And that's really what agriculture is about. And so if you're asking me why we'll be successful in helping God do his work, then it tells me that we're somehow having a disconnect. However,
I believe we are having a disconnect. And I believe the person who's having this disconnect is the Minister of Agriculture. Someone asked him a question. Asked him, how are you going to succeed in agriculture where others have failed? And he talking about planting seed and God's work. Clearly the minister did not understand the question. And this is a presentation that he came to Parliament with. He would have known that he was going to ask himself that question, and he would have known and prepared an answer. So this is not even on a carnival stage where persons don't know the question that is being asked.
You ask yourself a question, you
He
don't know
asks
the
himself
answer.
the question and do not know the answer.
But the truth is, it's scary. Eh? I mean, I don't want it's funny, but it's sad. It is funny, but it's sad. You expect a question like that. You would say, okay, innovative new ideas. You're going to say with policies, with, you're going to bring things of substance. Not some proverb. I don't know what that was. What was that? Garden, seed, and natural. I don't understand.
There are some persons, you ask them a question, and because they want to appear more intelligent, I don't want to say than they are, but because they want to appear more intelligent, they just string words together.
Yeah, word salad.
So they bring words together, but when you examine the words that have been said, nothing has been said.
Yeah, a lot of nothing.
Seem like a word salad. You just throw the words them in there. You make it sound good, but when you examine it, nothing there. And so that is why persons are saying that the Ministry of Agriculture is in a mess. That is why persons are saying, and the farmers are crying out as it relates to the agriculture sector now. I always say, and persons have said it too, that when it comes to the agriculture sector, it's as though they give the weakest minister that sector. And so when we look at the representative for constituency number 4, and when we look at his handling of his ministries, it is not surprising that his ministries aren't doing well. We talk about the carnival, and carnival, yes, it was a good carnival, but look at how many persons were involved in carnival. The minister ain't had to do nothing really. You have a chairperson of carnival. You have the troops who are invested in carnival. You have the persons who are invested, the vendors. And so the minister really didn't have to do anything.
Just show.
So what you have to do perhaps is reshuffle. We said Mr. Jew, Dr. Jew, Prime Minister, reshuffle. Give him ministries that he don't have to do anything in.
You've been a Bitcoin. What Mr. Jew need to do for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is to call a snap election.
And many people are asking for that. In fact, when you go house to house and you hear the cries of the people, and they ask you when is the next election, and then you got to tell them, well, you got at least 2 years. The look on their face.
2 more years of labor pay.
They said 2 more years of labor, 2 more years of this. 2 things not going well.
Where's the labor pain?
Labor
so
pain.
the women never got you when they give me birth. That's
Labor
the pain.
pain.
And so
But speaking about Dr. Joe, as he said, now you're asking about what this was the same Prime Minister who gave Somali portfolio, and allow him to choose a rookie to run the ministry. So a rookie minister, a rookie permanent secretary. What do you think can happen? What do you expect can happen to agriculture?
And so Samuel speaks about the 25 by 25 agenda. In his presentation in Parliament, he talks about the import bill. And he speaks about statistics of the import bill up to approximately $198 million. And he spoke about the 25 by 25 agenda and reducing the import bill by 25%. And so when you look at what he has said, yes, you want to reduce the import bill by 25%. But Minister, what strategies have you put in place to do so? And so persons have to ask the question. And he makes his presentation very simplistic.
Elementary.
You plant a seed, it grows the fruit, then you store it, and then you sell it. But if it was so easy,
Superficial.
why has it not been done before? And so that is why we have to coin the term superficial, Minister.
Just surface.
Because it's just surface.
If you want to add to that, because you're talking about the 25 by 25, speaking about just surface, he presented absolutely no data.
No data at all.
No data at all. Just talk.
I have been a youth parliamentarian. I have debated in the House of Assembly. And one of the things that they tell us as debaters is that when you present information in the House, you give the source of that information. We have a Minister of Agriculture talking about information, data left, right, and center, and not once did he credit a source. How are we supposed to know what that information came from, where that information came from? How are we going to fact check that information? If we have a Minister of Agriculture who is prepared to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, the budget debate is one of the biggest debates when it comes to Parliament.
I think we need to look into that because this is the budget debate. So I expect to hear about expenditure, revenue, okay, how you going to get them, how you get the money, how you going to spend it. The 25 by 25 started in about 2022. So where's the data to tell us that, okay, from year over year, 2022 to 2023, import was reduced by X amount. Here's the data. From 2023 to 2024, year over date, this is the reduction that we are moving towards. There was we don't know if you come in, go in, we don't know anything about that there.
Kyle, I was of the opinion that when the minister spoke in his presentation at the beginning, and he spoke about videos, and he spoke about presentations, I thought he was presenting the data. But all he did was present pictures and videos of him walking around smiling and greeting.
Photo up.
A photo up. That's all we have. We have a social media government. No hype, and no substance.
So you're talking about 25 by 25. The failed 25 by 25. It is a failed project.
We are already in 25.
AZARD, this is a failed project.
Well, everyone knows
let's look
but
beyond
the Minister of
25.
Agriculture, he does not know.
Because as I always tell people, the Minister of Agriculture exists in another world. He's far, far away, somewhere about.
You know what
he exists somewhere different.
What is sad is that as soon as this was launched, the layman, the normal man, and this people tell you, but that not gonna work. From the get-go, they could tell you, that not gonna work, that's nonsense. But apparently those are the higher ups, they don't understand, they don't know. So what are we living in?
And then Mr. Doggins would have you believe that the Ministry of Agriculture didn't have a plan before. He would have you believe that he walked in to the Ministry of Agriculture as a superhero, Superman, saving the Ministry of Agriculture because there was no plan. Not realizing and not telling the people that there was a plan in place from 2022 that work was being done by the FAO and the government of
It was done already. He got it completed. It was already done.
Mr. Flanders, give him
I could tell you, you call it growth strategy plan. It's on the FAO website. And up to this day, the ministries, Samuel and them, up to now they haven't made it actionable. But yet, you see it mentioned in their budget presentation. This strategy plan was developed in a broad way. We even spoke to Samuel when we talked about protected agriculture. He was a part of it. The agro-processors were a part of it. Water was a part of it. The farmers, of course, were part of it. The permanent secretary, when he was in charge of Bayfords, was a part of it. We attacked everybody. We called TDC, we called Development Bank, everybody we called, because we wanted a holistic approach to develop something from the ground up that would move agriculture in the right way.
And what year that was, Mr. Flanders?
It started around 2020, 2021, right? And was completed by April 2022. So you know when election was called. And so for him to say, there was no plan. There was no plan. A blatant lie.
But I want to know how the other members of parliament felt, especially the Honorable Alexis Jeffords, who was the Minister of Agriculture during the time just before Samuel Doggins. How he feels when Samuel speaks about no plan in agriculture. Is he saying that the Honorable Alexis Jeffords, as a Minister of Agriculture in the federal government, did nothing? Is he saying that? Because if he says that nothing was being done and there is no plan, who else is to blame? And so one has to ask the question, is the Honorable Samuel Doggins laying blame to the previous minister before him?
But it got to be madness though, because if you look at his write-up for his 2025 budget, the growth strategy plan is right there. So all of a sudden now, it has appeared. So the plan that never existed, now it exists. And he's referencing it now going forward. Because if you realize about somebody got no ideas, you know, he ain't got no ideas at all. When he came in, case in point, he down Old Road fisheries, they had a big song and dance. They had tents. They had opening ceremony. Why? To repair a ice machine. The ice machine was there already. The part was broken. We were procuring it, but elections happened. But then they say, yeah, big thing, ice machine replacement. Ain't like you bring a new one.
Much to do about nothing.
Nothing.
Much to do about
Other
nothing.
people's plan. When it come to him and his plans, you see what happening. You see nothing happening, right? So,
and he makes a song and dance out of the simplest things. That is why we have to say, of all of them, he has to be the most superficial minister. The most superficial minister of agriculture. Because he takes the very little thing and makes a big deal out of it.
do you know that the minister and his ministry relaunched an old lab? The same plant lab they have up in Isthmus that the Taiwanese gave us about in 2014 or so. They actually went and relaunched it.
I guess they had nothing else to... They had no accomplishments for that year. And
you know
perhaps
what is sad?
they wanted
I
to
see someone
include
taking pictures next to the obsolete machines and because they tell us the in operation because they're obsolete. And the man smiling, taking picture like they didn't bring a new machine, nothing new. It was the old lab, but for photo up, just to be seen, they actually launched a whole old lab, and they launched a boat twice. And you would have seen that in the media. They launched a boat twice. They had a ceremony when they got it, and one when they commissioned it, when they painted it and put it in the water.
But in fact, the
Photo
people of
ops.
St. Kitts and Nevis know that the Minister of Agriculture is all about a photo opportunity. You look at his presentation in Parliament in December 2024, it's all laughter. Sometimes he make a dramatic pause because he expected somebody to applaud. And when he didn't get it, he stopped. He laughed again and tried to make a joke.
Yeah.
Because all he's concerned about is for him to be in the spotlight, in his fancy suit, with his nice haircut, and for the spotlight to be on him, so persons could see him. Not to see the work that he has done, but to see him.
Do by chance you have the sound bite with the tractors from the presentation?
I don't think I have it.
Okay.
But you could go through.
Okay, so just to demonstrate further from the presentation how surface level the minister thinks. So he's saying that one of the problems was land preparation. So he said his big solution is this. Wait for it. Buy more tractors. Buy more tractors. Now, who hasn't done that in the past? Every single government in the past has
Every
bought more
administration.
tractors. And try to tell you what the farmers suggested instead of that.
Yeah.
we're going to take a call, and we'll go back to that call. The superficial minister might be calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, AZARD, man. This ain't nobody superficial, man. It's a real person right here.
Oh, bro, this is you.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year to you and the other gentleman there.
Happy New Year, bro.
Yeah, this is a quick question for you. Were you on the sister island today?
Yes, did you see me, bro?
Guess what, man? I want to say thank you for that visit. And just know those people you were at the shop. Those are my people, all right?
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
And you know, one of your former friends, I guess that's her family there. Your friend, man, Michelle
Yes,
Slack.
yes, Michelle Slack. She's the president of the NIA. My
Yes, yes,
colleague, we went to school together.
that's her people's. But
Yes,
I got connection up in that area. That's why I know you was there.
yes.
But
I
thanks
have.
a lot for that visit.
I see you have eyes all over, bro.
That's it, man. That's it. That's it. I'm
Yes.
watching Sinky and Neves like a hawk in the sky.
Yes.
So again, thanks for that visit. And let me ask all three of you, which one of you guys are going to be on the next ballot, for the next election? Is all three of you guys going up for election?
Yeah, we know
That's a
one
good
for
question.
sure.
Well, I could say for sure that I have written to the People's Action Movement indicating my interests to be the candidate for constituency number 4 for the People's Action Movement. And once all the process is completed, I hope to be the next candidate.
Yes, I congratulate you on that. And those two other gentlemen, I'm encouraging them to think about that move as well. And we have started an underground independent movement in the Federation to try to get independent persons on the ballots, as much independent vote candidates as we can on the next federal and local election in Nevis. So I just want to put that plug out there to encourage as much persons in the Federation as I can, independent-minded persons, to come forward and put their names on those ballots. And with that said, my biggest thing, you know what my biggest concern is. You already know what my biggest concern is, Azar. All the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, I want every citizen to enjoy all the fruits of their citizenship. With
Yes,
that
bro.
said, I am representing a segment of the citizens, especially out here in the diaspora. Since by the Constitution, we have the right to come home and vote, I also want said persons to have the right to come home and put their name on those ballots, irregardless of the fact that there's a clause called the Bryant Clause, and also with that
Burl,
dual
not to cut
citizenship
you off
clause.
because I know exactly what you're saying, and you did speak about it during the last show that we have here, and it is something that can be discussed. As it relates to
Yes.
the minister, did you hear his presentation in Parliament, Minister Doggins, in relation to agriculture?
No, I didn't really pay attention to him, but in regard to that though, the guy in the red shirt, what's his name, Kyle?
Kyle, yes.
Okay, the statement that he just made about bringing those figures to show where they are making road from what year that was, he said 2018 or whatever.
2022, 2023,
They have to
2024.
come. They have to come. My thing is that they got to come with the data, because if they don't, I would encourage the people not to allow these people, whenever they're going to make an announcement in this year about the results of this push, the 25 by 25, whenever they're going to come forward and make that statement, the people should not allow them to make that statement without that data, because they can come forward, and I already have a hunch that they're going to come forward and they're going to state that they were successful. But how would the people know if there's no transparency? That's my statement to that. And you already don't know my biggest concern or my agenda for this year is to get the parliamentarians to look at the Bryant Clause and the dual citizenship clause again.
Okay,
So thanks a lot, man. You already don't know what I'm going to say.
Yes, I know
so
you,
that's
bro.
all I don't want to take up that much time. So that's it for now, man.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Bull, for your contribution. So as Kyle was saying, you have a minister, and he thinks that one of the quick fixes, because he knows it all, but he knows nothing. He thinks that the quick fix is to give more tractors,
Buy more tractors.
to the farmers. So Kyle, you could continue that point.
Well, try and elaborate, because the consortium and the farmers. That is why we're pushing for a voice in agriculture. The consortium, we're pushing for a voice. You realize they already have a marijuana committee and whatever, but agriculture ain't got nothing yet. We're still waiting for that. But they gave the minister suggestions as to how we can make land preparation better. And the answer is not buy more tractors. At least not the government buying more tractors. What was
we was asking for incentives, you know. So they have private sectors, private tractor owners, and they asked to give them concession so that they could be on the same playing field as the government operated tractors. And that, in a sense, would have lessened the burden on the government, right? Because as a private operator, it's difficult to compete with the government. The government run their business at a cheaper rate than the private. So you find we had, at one point in time, we had 18 private tractors, and out of the 18, 17 was down. And we go and we tell them we need concession so we could bring in with parts duty free, and we could get concession and diesel so that we could bring down the cost, make it affordable for the farmers. These were suggestions even to make it easier for any farmer to purchase a tractor.
But I am not surprised. You made mention to the minister about this?
Of course.
That was discussed with the minister.
I am not surprised, because when asked the question, how are you going to succeed when other ministers have failed, and he talks about phenomenal and planting a seed and helping God to do his work, what else can you expect from that minister who barely knows a thing about what he's supposed to lead?
But you see, the thing is right? It's not only the minister alone, you know. The Labour Party in a whole does not believe in the agricultural sector, because it come out to the belly of Labour when he said it's cheaper to import food than to go we own. That is the philosophy of the Labour Party, because that come from them. It's cheaper to import than to go we own. So we shouldn't be surprised with their approach towards agriculture. It's a Labour Party approach.
But they also said that the farmers of the day, before they closed down the industry, were not able to carry on agriculture. They said they're not educated enough.
Right.
They actually said that. They were not educated enough to carry on agriculture. They had no hope in the sector.
But the minister in his presentation also spoke about the seedlings. He spoke about distribution of seedlings to farmers over his time. What do you have to say about the distribution of the seedlings mentioned by the minister?
You must ask him. You must ask him how much they harvest from the seedlings, right? You give us seedlings at a time out of season, and expect to have a mass production when it's out of season, and you're boasting about you give farmers seed. The minister and the ministry set up the farmers to fail, and then he talking about the drip when no water on your farm. How water gonna run through drip line if you don't got no water?
The drip perhaps to him is a fancy sounding word.
One of my biggest problems with that, right? Because he mentioned it in his presentation about forecasting. The approach doesn't really tell the true picture. That's what we're talking about, data here. So where's the data that shows from all the seedlings we gave out, this is how many tons was harvested. Yeah. This is how much we made it to the market. Where's the real? What hit the street? You could say he boasting thousands and thousands of seedlings. Yeah. Okay, so did monkey kill all of them? Did the rain wash out all of them? Did they even touch Ram's shelf or Best Boy shelf or Valmart shelf? What is the actual? Not the forecast. What is actual? That's what budgeting is all about. You can project, but you need actual. So you could know next year, okay, this is what happened on the street. We could change it up for next year. You have to use your mind, you have to think. You can't just boast of thousands of seedlings. What became of them? Where's the data to show? We gave out X amount of trays. This is what we had in return. No data. No information. Just talk and blustering.
But I could tell you, as a farmer, that those seedlings, they will perish. They perish. They come to nothing. Because they were out of season. You give out tomato when it is hot time. They're not fruit. They're not food. You're not getting food from them.
Mm-hmm. Just to say that
you give out seed, because it's not his money. Mm-hmm. The money that was spent wasn't their money, so they don't care how they spend the people's money.
But to say that they gave out X, Y, and Z to make it
Because,
sound
as
good,
you said about the gentleman, is all what?
it's all about him. It's all about making sure that he looks good, even if he's not doing good.
Exactly. It's just a
Yeah,
show.
that's a good, yeah. Yeah.
It's just a show.
It is a better man.
And so he spoke also in his presentation, because I listened to that budget presentation, and you know, sometimes if you want to grade the minister, because the minister is supposed to be the one who knows what he's saying. But I often wonder, and again, did he write that presentation? If he didn't write it, did he read it before he came to Parliament? If he read it before he came to Parliament, did he understand it? And so these are questions that one must ask. Because then the minister went on to talk about trading between the countries. And I think he mentioned St. Martin. I think he mentioned Sabre. And saying that, Statia. He said, you know, the farmers will be able to export. Or he made it seem as though they will be trading in hope of export. But when you look at the St. Martin and the Statia farming industry, Kyle, what do you think about that?
Okay, so let me give you some inside baseball on that one, especially with Statia. So sometime last year, a contingent came in from Statia on a learning expedition, in a sense. They came to learn from us, right? They wanted to know how we handling agriculture over here. Unfortunately, they came and met two empty chairs because the PS had to go, I think it was St. Croix, to some festival they had, and the minister. So I had to helm that meeting. In that meeting, they told us point blank, watch here, one farmer from St. Kitts could flood the whole station market. So we ain't really going to market down there. We're just here to learn, to see how best we can improve our agriculture down there. So when you're talking about the stations ready to trade, this is with their own mouth, they told us in the meeting, the market is too small. One farmer could flood the whole station market. The hotels are along the small occupancy, so there's no real market down there. And even if the markets were ready for trade, what are we doing here in St. Kitts? Because I looked through the budget, based on the presentation, there's nothing there that speaks to how we're going to get this stuff transported over there. There's nothing that to speak to about standards and those kind of things. We can't just up and send things just like that. We have to let the groundwork. So where is the groundwork that's being laid for us to actually capitalize on any markets that might actually open?
But at the same time, Mr. Flanders, we are not self-sufficient for how we going to export if we cannot control our own domestic market.
What the was for again? Imports, right?
I think okay.
But now we're talking about exports now.
We carry down the import.
Yeah,
and so the minister, in his presentation, at one point in time, he spoke about agriculture being a hot topic. And then minutes after, he said the people of St. Kitts and Nevis know the value basically of agriculture. He made light of the times of slavery when Europe benefited from the labor here in the Caribbean, and said this is where he wants to take us. If they could benefit from our hard labor,
back to the plantation.
why can't we benefit from our labor? And it makes you wonder if the Minister of Agriculture understands not only agriculture but history. Because we were the producers of the raw material, but it is the byproducts and the products after the raw materials have been refined that often carries the bulk of the money.
Okay, so you're alluding to the Tabasco project, right? That's what we're talking about here?
But it could apply to all the projects.
So let me talk about history for real though, because that part of the presentation had me, well, I almost cried. It was sad. It was really sad. He said to me that this minister, he either failed history, missed history class, he don't read, he's not well read, something along the line. I just intellectually lazy, somewhere along the line. Because if you look at it, sugar failed in St. Kitts, but bananas failed in the region. Right now in Africa, the cocoa industry is struggling. Africa producing so much, but they cannot see the benefits because all it's going to Cadbury and Nestle and Europe and those kind of places.
Making the big bucks.
If you look at the Tabasco project, do we own the finished product? Back in history, you have what you call the Muscovado bias. Let me get a little history lesson. The Muscovado bias. Shout out to Mr. Govaya, best history teacher ever. The Muscovado bias says that in the Caribbean, St. Kitts, we are only allowed to grow the sugarcane, produce the up to the Moscow Valley. That's where you have the kind of the molasses still mixed with the crystals. But the refinement, the processing goes to Europe because that's where the lion's share of the money comes in. So for us to even benefit remotely from this Tabasco project, let me just say, the government decided to dedicate $5.5 million to this project. $5.5 million in the budget for this project, right? And this is an experimental project. It's a pilot project. Nobody knows what's going on with this project. And he's talking about building empires. But Mr. Minister, nothing has changed. It's the same dynamic. We are still providing the labor. We are still providing the raw material. The finished good doesn't belong to us. It leaves our shores. And these big islands, these big countries, they are going to squeeze us for the cheapest possible price. That is why these countries cannot develop from this initiative. So how you could say we're going to develop? And the way he said it in Parliament, you could tell the man ain't much about these things. The man up there talking and he want applause. And guess what? His colleagues him applaud too.
Because they are there to be his cheerleaders.
But which country that grows for Tabasco is prospering? Which Latin American country could boast about building an empire or going for Tabasco? Which one of them?
Well, I think that we all need to have a sit down with the minister. We break it down to him. We use the simplest term, the simplest language, and we say, Minister, if we have to draw it out so he understands, so he could try to lead his ministry.
But the minister had to say something because he himself don't know anything about the Tabasco. If you ask him anything about Tabasco, he can tell, oh, farmers go in the mountain to make peppers and Tabasco and take all. That's the most he could tell you about Tabasco.
Upstandard. Remember he said upstandard.
Well, even still that thing, he does not know anything else about the project. It's unfortunate that the project seems to me like it's outside of his ministry. Because, no surprise, you see the Prime Minister was there at the groundbreaking ceremony. And he said he's not going to intervene himself in no ministry, no other ministry. But when the farmers go to him and complain about the Ministry of Agriculture, he take his hand off it. He said, no, I'm not going to interfere in no other ministry.
Not only farmers, when workers go complain about the hardship down there.
You understand? So
not deal with that.
Maybe, people got to dig deeper and figure out what this project is all about. Because somebody tried to make attention that that project might be managed by somebody from Trinidad.
You really have to question this project because on the surface, it makes hardly any sense. Because for us to even benefit from something like this, we have to produce tons and tons and tons of, because they're going to
want to say it again for the minister so he understands?
We have to create tons and tons and tons of peppers.
So how much an acre going to produce?
Well, let's say 10 to start,
Yeah, but no, how much an acre going to produce, Mr. Minister? Because there's the information you should already have. So you could tell the people that we're going to do 10 acres, and these 10 acres that we plan to make available going to produce this amount of
Again,
peppers.
when you look at and you listen to his presentation in the parliament, you wonder if it's an elementary student pass him that paper for him to read.
You realize he left out the elephant in the room. That Ministry of Finance decided to give them $5.5 million for the Tabasco project. So where's the breakdown? Where that $5.5 million really going? You want to tell me somebody in finance stood there and said, that project sounds brilliant, sign off on that. Dr. Joe, brilliant, sign off on that.
Who signed off on the project?
How?
The project from start.
How are you going to see that and say, this makes sense for the people of St. Kitts? Why are we going backwards? Why are we regressing? Why not invest the $5.5 million in our local brands? We got floral peppers, we got brimstone, we got so much local peppers that need the injection so we can actually export to other markets. They need the injection. You send that to send things overseas again. So we at the mercy of the white man again. That's what we're going back to. Then here Donald Trump win, talking about tariff. What if let's say that we ain't taking the pepper at this rate from St. Kitts? What's going to happen to the peppers? I can't eat the pepper, so I know what we're going to do with them there. Right? Because people can't feed nobody. This project needs to be looked into, because it doesn't make any sense on the surface.
You can't expect Labour to do nothing better. Labour do not believe in people.
They believe in keeping people poor.
Yeah, they do not believe in people. Labour do not invest in the people of the country.
That is true. Because the 5.5 could have gone to farmers, it could have been in a bank to a revolving fund. You want a loan, you want 100,000 to buy some equipment.
That ain't going to be good for the farmers. That's something we were asking for a revolving fund. Yeah. And they can't find the money.
And Troy, you said something, very instrumental. You said this Labour administration simply don't care about the people of
No,
St.
Labour.
Labour do not care.
In general.
Labour does not care. And so, one has to ask the question, is it only that they do not care? Or is it that they are incompetent of leading this country where we need to go? We have a lot of bright minds, a lot of young people in this country. And when you ask them about politics and discussing politics, they don't want to discuss it. Because the persons who sit in government now are not showing them any reason to want to be a part of the discussion. Young people want to turn off their radios. The only time you hear persons listening to the Prime Minister is around December time, wondering if he's going to give a double salary or not.
Yeah,
Because other than that, there is no policy, there is no initiative that young people could really hang on to. We heard the Prime Minister talk about, what he call it? Some boosts.
Oh, the wallet.
Was it a
wallet.
BBW that he... I see them make the abbreviation.
The 250.
The $250.
Yeah.
And then at the time that he made mention of the $250, persons thought that, okay, once you make under the $5,000, the $250 would just come to you. In January, the Prime Minister attaches stipulations to it. And although there might be stipulations, okay, why didn't the Prime Minister give those stipulations when he made the announcement? It is as though the Prime Minister and his cabinet say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z, before making the plans to do X, Y, and Z. After they say we're going to do X, Y, and Z, they say, bye, let's come together. How we going to get it work out?
That is the truth.
You understand?
That is it right
We're going to make a grand idea. We're going to make something sound good. And when we don't push it out there and they like it, let's find out how we're going to make it happen.
And that's why things are bad right now. They didn't understand what they were expecting. They didn't, and they bang them when they're out there. When they get in, like, I saw you got for you? And so they don't know how to do that.
That is what is happening. You look at the housing. They've made a song and dance. 2,400 homes. A revolutionary housing industry. Ask them how many homes have been built under that by that company. Ask them.
Ask someone how much water is on. Remember, he said when he started, all farms will have water. In the presentation, he back again. All farms will have water. To this day, no farm got no water.
Anyway, I want to believe that you're still a youth.
I am.
So
and there's nothing to look forward to when it comes to this administration.
I believe there's a little hope for the youth because you're still a youth. So you try and guide them in the way that they should go. You tell them that labor is the problem.
Well, Troy, as you say, labor is the problem. Well, during the whole December, I heard persons saying that labor is the problem. That is the popular slang now. Labor is the problem.
You let them know that labor is the problem. And if you look at the labor administration throughout the years, right? When you think about P and you think about progress, prosperity, peace, not one of them they fit in a labor. Where you don't find it in a labor?
If you keep it, let me show you an example. Keep it in agriculture, right? Under the Dr. Kennedy Simmons-led administration, agriculture was thriving. People like to say they ain't nothing for number 6, but because they know number 6 is the breadbasket for agriculture in the Caribbean, in St. Kitts, they install roadways in the mountain because they know people can get pickup truck and they need to be able to navigate these roads. So farmers be able to navigate these things. You had things for cattle to dip to prevent all the diseases. They had so many initiatives agriculture related. When I tell people we used to grow onions and white potatoes and we used to grow our own chicken and those, people shock like, what? Like kitchen pride? Chicken? So when Samuel is talking about developing a poultry industry, But man, he was here already. Ain't nothing new.
And banana, I mean pineapple.
Nothing new. Labor kill agriculture in St. Kitts. I remember when the industry was ending. What I tell the persons who were part of the industry? Man, go buy taxi. Go run taxi. What happened today? Somebody small man can't even get a little dollar because all the big companies take over all the taxi work.
So when he talks about not finding a plan, which of course is not the truth, he should ask, what did his party do for the agriculture in their 20 years
Kill it.
in government?
But surprisingly, Azad, did you see whole presentation? You hear someone say anything about the greenhouse village?
Oh yeah, man. He mentioned.
What he said about the greenhouse village?
Oh no, just passing. So if you want to speak on the Greenhouse Village, right? If you look to the budget document, they say that they put aside $1.1 million for the first phase at least. Going through the document, when you want to talk about no progress, nothing to do. Apparently, they only spend $157,000 out of 1.1 million.
So where is the other? What happened to the rest money?
Yeah, me because I see a kind of weird number. In 1 year, they say 800,000. In the next year, they say 400,000. They allocated, but yet expenditure total is 157,000. So when you hear nothing to do, you go down there, grass. You go down there, nothing erected
In
up to
fact,
now.
I spoke about those same greenhouse houses. I made an article. I did a video. I came on this show. I spoke about it.
So that's to travel there.
That's a good question.
When you went down there, you see some structures were going up.
Yeah.
But those structures disappear overnight.
With the money gone.
And then I see one now coming back up. So if you visit there and see 5 structures over there,
Yes.
there may be one now. So the question is,
But this is the same Minister of Agriculture who made a song and dance. I read the articles, Kyle. I read the articles where the minister talk about it's going to be revolutionary. When he talk about making the greenhouse, putting the greenhouses down by Newton Gong. And so you are going to tell me that before 2025 even start properly, that he has taken back from putting down greenhouses there?
I don't know. Farmers are asking me when they're going to be available. Farmers asking me that.
And so even though we're talking about agriculture today, you see that there is a trend when it comes to this minister. Because when you look at sports,
Oh boy.
and you look at the infrastructure in sports, when you look at his constituency, when you look at what he has failed to deliver, you wonder, what is he doing other than smiling and taking pictures?
Well, I will encourage anybody, if they think I'm lying, to drive down the countryside, go around Newton Gong, and tell me how much greenhouses is standing. Over a year since that project started, not one greenhouse has been completed.
Let me tell you the fundamental problem in agriculture. The lack of planning. They would say things, sound good, but there's no, even the location of the greenhouse villages was decided last minute. I see extension officers, I wonder, like, what I say now, these high grass down there, we're going to open ceremony down here. Nobody tell us nothing. Everything is last minute. The 25 by 25, there was no plan, only some slides. No plan at all. I sat in a committee, started to try to plan the whole thing. Next time we come back, they say, we're thinking on that. This is what we're going to do. No kind of plan these people have. It's always cart before the horse every single time. And that's where we end up in problems. They don't think. There's no in-depth thinking about anything. It's all shallow surface. This sound good? We're going on a vibe. It's all about on a vibe. That's it. It's very going to look good, and so we're going to work on a vibe. Look here, if you go to school to study, and you think you're going government to try to implement anything you learn,
Under this administration.
think about, no, not all because that ain't sexy. Intellect is not sexy in government, in this government. You got to look good on page, on picture. You got to look good on video.
And so that's what the minister did. He came to Parliament. He talked about his video presentations. And just pictures. No data. Nothing telling you about what happened in 2022, the data. To highlight, I thought he would come in with a whole presentation. And so when I looked at him, all I was saying, laughing through the presentation. I thought maybe he's nervous.
That's how the man give some data. The man said they had a lot of watermelon.
Oh, yeah, that one.
The man say had a lot of watermelon, 70-something% increase in watermelon.
And
So
no,
based on what?
based on what, Troy?
So how we get the 70? What happened
I
here?
don't-
What
I don't
statistics has he?
I don't know.
You know, when you're doing projects in university or you're doing an essay, they tell you have to credit your source. You have to show where you're getting the information. Even as a youth parliamentarian, when you go in the House of Assembly and you're debating as a youth parliamentarian, one of the things that they told us was that when you come and you're speaking and you're giving figures, present the source.
But and now we just skim over that one with the watermelon, right? But let me go back to that because that part of the presentation really hurt me heart. Because here it is, a farmer toiled so hard to get his watermelon out there. Toiled so hard. But there was no market for the watermelon. So the farmer reached out to any source. He made a call, like anybody could help me. I have a lot of watermelon on my hands, they're spoiling. I need to make some money. Anybody could help me, just reach out to me. So social media went out. I see some people went on Facebook and thing, and I said, okay, tell him call me. People actually doing people and work, the marketing. And for the minister to stand up in there and say, but when I saw all the watermelon, I smile because it shows that we have an abundance. But Mr. Minister, the man losing money. I have a story because he had somebody who a backyard gardener, right? Mm-hmm. They harvested 400 pounds of watermelon. So they called me and said, what do you think I should do with it? They went to the extension officer. He said, let's get to the marketing unit. They could get off your hand. You know what happened? Marketing unit say, no, we ain't taking nothing right now. Tell them come back for it. The extension officer said he's so ashamed to go keep back the watermelon. He's so ashamed, the man's so flustered. So when the minister in the presentation talking about, I wish that the farm had come to us so that we can, get the products gone and stuff. He lies again because they were instructed not to accept any more produce. Remember they throw the tomatoes? Remember they throw the peppers? Because they send out all these seedlings. Harvest them come. No market there. No plans there. And they have to smile about abundance. Abundance, that's a man money going down the drain, minister. Ain't everything about skin teeth. People working hard out there. And you talking about you feel good because they make too much and a glut in the market? How kind of man you study business? A glut is a good thing? Since when? Nah, we gotta do better than that. That's why you could tell there's a disconnect. He doesn't understand what's happening on the ground in the farm. Because for a fact, your ministry, your department, the permanent secretary tell the marketing people, do not accept anything. But you're going in the house and tell a lie and say, all that is come to us. Don't wait till it's spoiling. You think the man reached out to her before? Person reached out, try to tell her, the consultant will tell her that.
I could tell you of a story. A guy had way over 10,000 pounds of watermelon. Mm-hmm. And when he went to the marketing unit, they tell him they only want 1,000 pounds. The guy up there started to cry. He said, what are you going to do the rest? And luckily for that guy, somebody was in there and they tell him, come, I could help you move some. So he gets some move and some spoil. Mm-hmm. So what he was saying again, Samuel and the truth ain't friend. Mm-hmm. Samuel have a way of saying things that is far, far, far from the truth. So he just opened him out and said things. It's not the truth. He don't care about the truth.
In the constituency, we had a public meeting, the People's Action Movement, and I said that Mr. Doggins is a headless representative. You look at his constituency office, and there was a photo of him. If you look at it now, it is headless, representing the state of the minister.
Wow.
They have not even tried to repair it.
Don't put that on the head.
They have not tried to repair it. Because I want to believe that his constituents and team feel the same way. So why are we going to replace it when they have a headless leader?
Empty suit, nothing, no substance there.
And it is unfortunate because as we talk here today and talk about the superficial characteristic of the minister, as we talk about his headless leadership, no direction, no purpose, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis suffer. We suffer. We understand how it was during COVID-19. These persons were not in government, and so they will have known how it felt to be outside of government. and the importance of agriculture was highlighted. We remember when the country was on lockdown and the boats didn't come, and we had to use what we had in this country. So one would have thought that this minister would have understood the importance of agriculture like we the people, and would have made a plan, given a sense of direction. But he comes to Parliament. He doesn't even look as though he has read the script. It doesn't even look as though that he has understood what he is to present. And he makes a joke and a mockery out of it. He stands in his suit. He makes joke. Well, we the people of St. Kitts and Nevis suffer. And so I have been saying, if he comes to your door in constituency number 4, say to him, Samuel, we don't want you anymore, because you are not representing us. You have not been representing the people in the ministries that you are leading. And so when he comes to the door, any Labour candidate comes to your door, you have to say, we don't want you anymore. We don't want anything else to get worse. When you hear an advisor of the Prime Minister could not only privately but publicly sing to the nation that things are not going well, when you have a Prime Minister in the audience who could stand up and also, I want to believe, acknowledge that things aren't going well, then we have a serious problem in this country. And we talk about agriculture today, Troy and Kyle, but we have problems in the healthcare system. We talk about the tourism as well. We could talk about all the ministries held by all these ministers who seem to not understand or care to understand the ministries that they lead. They go on planes, they travel, while we, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, are left with the bad end of the stick. They talk about, and in Parliament, they boast about being able to pay off loans, when many of us are struggling to pay bills.
Struggle to eat.
The economy
And
is
so
hurting.
when they talk about being happy for a job, many of us wish we had a job that would meet our expenses. And so when they gave themselves 33% increase, when majority of them did not serve in Parliament for more than 2 years, we wonder, what is their motive? Why did they come as wolves in sheep clothing in 2022, singing "Get rid of them," so they could be elected and rule St. Kitts and Nevis as kings and queens, while we, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, suffer?
Next question. Anybody feeling the impact of the 13% VAT? I thought the internet bill would have dropped by a lot, but I'm going to save $30 in the 6 months. $30.
And so, Kyle, these are the things that we're saying. We have a Minister of Finance who can talk, and when you look at the graphics look good. You see the graphics? They make it look good. But the substance ain't there. The substance ain't there.
You meant agriculture?
In everything.
Okay, I want to say all of my CM guys. It
All
don't
of them.
matter which.
They got good graphics.
No
They got
matter
good
which.
marketing.
The same.
But when you look at the product in which they are marketing, it's a lot to be desired.
AZARD, 2022 August, there has been a dark cloud over St. Kitts and Nevis. And if those of us who know the Bible a little, we know the story of Jonah. Right? From since the government change, there's a dark cloud hanging over St. Kitts and Nevis. In order for us to get rid of that dark cloud, we have to get rid of the Labour administration in office. If you check it out to the family that is grieving right now for the loss of the young one in the accident, unfortunately. And it's just another one, because, that's the thing going on from since Labour take office, it been tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. People losing their life in all kind of style now. And labor is the problem, the dark cloud that hanging over St. Kitts. I think we need to pray. Let us lead this country into prayer.
Let us pray that we get rid of this labor
We got to.
administration. I also want to give my condolences to families who have lost loved ones. As you've mentioned,
Yeah.
Troy,
It's sad.
we have seen a number of traffic accidents, and I want to encourage persons to be safe on the road. Oftentimes we think that it cannot be us, you know? And so anyone who is listening, I urge you to think twice when you drive. Be cautious. Drive cautiously. Because the life you save may be your own.
St. Kitts is too small to be driving that fast. Where you going? You're going to get there. You're going to get there. Be safe getting there. We are small. Don't be in such a hurry. Slow down. Right? I mean, I went to a funeral for one of my past students the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
19 car accident. That was just a mess. That was just a mess. So people, be safe on the road. Drive defensive if you have to, because something you don't know what other people thinking. But just be safe. Do what you have to do. Car seat, whatever. Do what you have to do. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Even think about the suicide rate in St. Kitts is up. People just like they reach a point in life that is so sad.
Yeah. We just want to pray for our country, pray for our nation. We do hope things get better. And we hope that come the next general election, that the people make a great decision and remove this Labour administration, who clearly is the problem that we are facing. And the only solution is a People's Action Movement administration. We've seen the work of the People's Action Movement in the past. We've seen the work of a People's Action Movement in a coalition government with the NRP. We've seen the work of the People's Action Movement in another coalition, Team Unity with the CCM and the PLP. And so wherever there is the People's Action Movement, we will see the work being done for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Amen.
So I want to thank both of you for being here tonight. And I want to thank those persons who listened to this presentation. We know things aren't going well, and we're hoping that things get better. To have a safe. You want to say anything?
Plug yours?
Try?
No, you said it well.
No problem.
You said it well.
So I want DJ, you know my song that I started with? Let's end with that song as well. Have a pleasant night, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Good night, all.
Escaping in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and man mixari. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard life crippling. We a collective menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake. Under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, Yannick get lawyer. He really a pump playing labor, third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4 now and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult of the greedy. just a menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace to society. On SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go, they got to go. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go. Them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go, oh, they got to go, oh, got to go, oh, they got to go, oh.
The views and opinions expressed in this program were solely those of the participant or caller and do not reflect the views of WinFM 98.9. WinFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who in WinFM's considered opinion is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.